coach is Rick Stewart with allaccesscoaching.com. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below so we can let you know when new content's been uploaded.
So a couple of examples of how we do that. If you look, these are our rules for our base plays, the plays that we run the most. Just check and make sure we're good there. As you can see, there's a lot of carryover, especially if I'm a guard or a center. A lot of these rules, we can double up on plays. But the difference between inside veer and zone dive for the tackle, the only thing is the difference between a veer and a power veer is what I do with my outside hand. On a regular veer, I'm going to hand trade, and on a power veer, I'm going to throw a flipper. My feet stay the same and all of that, but all these guys, they'd run the exact same thing. There's carryover here. We're trying to say, what I want to be able to say to our offense, like when we run zone dive for a guard, zone dive is the exact same thing as he would do on inside veer. And it's the exact same thing he would do when we run zone kick. We want carryover because, again, we want those guys playing fast. I don't want a long list of techniques that each position has to learn. As you can see, playing tackle for us and playing A-back for us is a very specialized spot. But for the vast majority of our offensive group, they've got a lot of generic stuff, and they don't have to carry a lot of different techniques, which is crucial for allowing us to play fast. This is just an example of how those rules work out for us. Right now, this was in the state finals last year, and what we're running is belly to a two-man surface. So if we were to say, hey, you have this guy or you have that guy, we'd get ourselves into a bad spot. So what our guys are doing here is they're blocking tracks. Our play side tackle is working through B gap to the backside backer, and whatever ends up on his track, he blocks. He is going to chase the foot of the tackle, working to the second level. And then our guard is going to check mark and kick out whatever is there. Okay. So whether it's this guy or this guy, he doesn't know pre-snap. He's just going to feel it out. And you can kind of see they do a great job of doing that. I'll play it in slow motion to try to help with the jerkiness. So you can see that four technique lets the tackle pass. So the tackle's not going to slow down on him. Because if we lock on here, it's going to create a crease that allows these linebackers who are extremely athletic to run through. So we want to take all the air out of these gaps. So he's going to get under there and leave him if he's not keeping up with them. Our guard is going to check mark, and then he's going to feel out and block what's there. Ends up being the four technique. Okay. And our A-back does a really good job being patient, working his way to the second level. Okay, so this is what I mean by having generic rules. We block tracks, and they do. I mean, this is the perfect example of how that works out. We're blocking tracks, not guys. And that's a good football play. You can see it from we were having some end zone camera trouble here, so we weren't able to zoom in. You can see it from there. It opens up nice. We want to take all the air out of this gap. If we stall out on this block, you can see if we were to base that out, you're going to have a pretty big run through crease there. So we want to reduce that and get inside it. Another example, you can see it best from the end zone view of us just blocking tracks. We're running zone dive to this side. You're going to see we got a play side shade here. So these guys do a great job on their ace. Our guard does a good job understanding that he's got to run this track right here and work to cut off any sort of flow coming from the backside. Our play side tackle is going to power veer, thinking that this linebacker is going to fit, but he doesn't. So he stays on his track, ends up not necessarily blocking the safety, but he affects him enough to help us get a couple extra yards. So here's a look at it here. So a really good job on the ace block. Guard does a good job coming off and picking up the flow. You can see play side backers out of the mix. So our tackle's up, and this gets a good team. This is in the semifinals. This was coming into this game. They'd only lost one game in 3 years. We were fortunate enough to beat them out. A really good football team. Okay, so this is another example of how we're generic. A lot of guys, when they're like, we're going to receive back-to-back plays of inside veer. And so what some guys will do, like listening to the Citadel guys, it sounds like these guys are reading what's happening out on the perimeter, ultimately with him trying to end up on number 3, which if we were to do the option count here, it'd be 1, 2, and 3. But we don't do it like that. We are very, very generic. We tell this kid on an arc, he needs to get to the downhill cone, which is 10 yards outside the football on the line of scrimmage, which would put him right around that hash. And he's going to kick whatever shows. So in this first example, this was a regional final game this year. This team ended up beating us. They set the state record for points scored out of 32 personnel, full T, just bludgeon you and then run around you as well. I mean, really good football team. But so our guy's going to get out, just get to his downhill cone. He's going to kick what's there. So this first clip, this ends up being what's called a 3-2 exchange. So what that means is the guy that would normally be taking quarterback right here actually jumps out to take pitch, and then the safety replaces. If we're doing it where we're trying to read it out in block number 3, our A-back would have to see that, adjust, and then drastically change his path to pick this up. But because we're not doing that, this guy plays right into our hand. He gets outside, we get him kicked, and now the quarterback knows that if he's going to pitch it, he's pitching it off this guy. So this is the first play in the sequence right there. The very next play, we're running inside veer again. And it's going to fold out differently. The A-back's going to take his same path, but this time they're going to play it more traditional where this guy fits quarterback and then the safety gets outside. But because our rules are so generic, that 3-2 exchange, which should be confusing to people, doesn't matter. He gets on his track and now he's kicking the next guy, exact same play. Defense is just determining who's getting kicked based on where they fit. Okay. So, it's very, that is the perfect example of being like water there, just being generic enough to handle whatever stunts the defense might throw at us.
Coaches, Rick Stewart with allaccesscoaching.com. I really hope this video helps make you a better coach. Make sure you hit the subscribe and like button down below so we can let you know when new content becomes available, because we're all about coaches helping coaches. And remember, coach, better today, never as good as tomorrow.